This week on the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast.
I was going to ask you if you made any changes because I made one change to my store and my sales have went through the roof. Hi, I'm Chad the Quirky Picker. I'm a full-time reseller from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Hi everyone, I'm Denis the Free King Flipper. I'm a full-time reseller from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
I'm an everything seller, but I love to sell all kinds of electronics and anything unique and vintage.
I'm an everything seller as well, but I really enjoy finding and flipping our vintage toys, Sony Walkmans, vintage electronics.
Join us each week as we discuss life as a full-time reseller. We will share our experiences, both the good and the not so good.
Learn from our expertise and our mistakes.
From sourcing to listing to shipping,
customer interactions, we will cover it all.
This is the Full-Time Flippers
Reselling Podcast.
Welcome to the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast. I am Chad the Quirky Picker, and I'm here with my co-host,
Denis the Free King Flipper.
Hey, Denis. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. You haven't been that great, though, from what I've heard.
No, it feels like we have not done this in a while. I was sick for, 7, 10, 12 days, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Out of nowhere, just got a sinus cold, and then it went like right up here in the top of the chest, and then I lost my voice, lost my sense of taste. Mm-hmm. Crazy. No COVID. It didn't, I tested a couple of times, not that it matters, whatever you want to call it. It was definitely viral, and it took a while to kind of clear out, but yeah, I'm better. I'm 50.
I need to bring that up. A couple weeks ago on our two truths and a lie, your number 3 was I turned 50 next week, and I knew that. So I totally blew it off. Like not on purpose. It's my ADHD. My attention just went elsewhere. And I felt like I totally should have acknowledged that it was your birthday and talked about that because that's a big deal. And I just acted like I just came across as, and I didn't care, or I didn't even want to bring it up, but congratulations. You're in the club now. How's it feel?
Yeah.
You said it feels
I'm
like
sore. My back is sore. I have just can't make it up. Thank you for your shout out though. And your happy birthday wishes. The alien that cracked me up. That was tremendous. So if anybody caught that on Instagram, that was well done. Thank you.
Yeah. I won that mask on Primo Chemo's podcast that he does.
Very cool.
And he just gave it away. And so he said, guess a number between 1 and 1,000. And I said, 125 or 129. And I think the number was 125, but it was like 50 or 60 people guessing. So I got that in the mail that day. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use the mask.
That's awesome.
Anyhow, we are full-time resellers. We make our money from reselling, not by making video content other than this podcast, which we don't make any money at this point. But we just make this podcast because we love talking about reselling with each other. It gives us someone to process the day-to-day goings on of reselling. So you did mention how your week went, but how did your reselling week go? 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks this week.
So it was almost like the tale of two cities. 2 weeks ago was probably one of the better weeks I've had all summer. It was crazy. I hit my quota on Tuesday.
Wow.
And everything else was gravy, and people just kept buying. I was selling clothing, tons of media, games, video games. I listed a whole bunch of VCRs, and they all just flew. Some speakers and a lot of hi-fi stuff just started flying. And then this past week, it has been probably about half of that. Not a terrible week, but it's just noticeably different. We record on Friday, so I finally hit my quota today versus 2 weeks ago. It was like boom, on the first day of selling, I'm already hit it. So it just goes to show you can never tell what week to week is going to do. Just keep listing high quality items and you'll make your money. But they both average out to be great weeks, so I can't complain.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if you made any changes because I made one change to my store and my sales have went through the roof. I
Really?
decided that I was going to put everything in my store promoted at 3%, regardless of how rare it is, how long it's been in my
Mhm.
store. I just decided I'm going to try this. And since I have done that, my sales have been through the roof. I've had a record week last week, and I'm on pace for a record week this week. Now we're leaving on vacation on Sunday morning. So I've got the message out there already, letting my customers know if they buy from me, I can't ship until Thursday. I know you don't like to do that, put your time away, but I do. I just like my customers to know I'm away. I don't extend my shipping time, but I think it does it automatically. But so I have a message out there starting today that if they buy today, then it's not going to ship till next Thursday. So I bet that's going to hurt my sales pretty good. But I've had 2 really good weeks, and just by promoting my whole store at 3%, I can't believe it worked that well. I don't know if there's any other factors, but that first week, almost everything sold promoted.
Wow.
So I'm like, I wonder if they're not even showing my items sometimes if it's not promoted. I have wondered that. So,
I think so.
yeah.
I really think so.
Yeah.
I like to play the game where I don't promote anything the day I first list it. So let's say tonight I go and I list my 15 items, and I won't promote anything just to see if some of that stuff sells. So I get a little bit more money. And then the next morning I look at those things and there are very few views at all. Some of them have 0 views. So then I go and I promote them all. And by the end of the day, those views are way up. So it definitely works.
Yeah. So I've just resided. I'm just going to do that going forward until it doesn't work. I'm going to give eBay an extra 3%, and that's what it takes. I'm having record weeks, so I can't complain. When you add up how much you paid for promoted at the end of the year versus and then try to figure out how much extra you made, I'm sure it's worth it. I mean, as much as I hate it, and I know it's controversial. Some people hate promoting, and
they think they're just giving eBay extra money, but do you want to give them extra money, which means you're going to get money, or do you want it just to sit on a shelf for months and months and months? So it's a personal choice, I guess.
All right, moving on to viewer mail. Share at least one viewer comment.
Yeah, I'll do. We had a couple. We had an awesome, our last show, which was a couple of weeks ago. But we had Happy Picker comment and a couple other people. And she says, I definitely have had multiple occurrences of listed things disappearing. Very frustrating. So we were talking about things in your store just gone, and you're trying to search them up. You're trying to, do all, and they're just gone. So funny how I sold a golf club the other day, and I went in just to see how many views were on this other club. They're right back here.
Okay.
It's gone. It's totally gone. I cannot find it. I said, I know it's listed. I know it is. It will not come up. I've tried the brand name, golf. I've tried club. I've tried driver. Just I cannot find it, and it's so infuriating because now, do I take pictures of it again? Do I list it again? Will there be 2 listings in there? I don't know. It's one of those things where they're going to say, no, that never happens. But then how do you explain it?
I'll share a comment from Wolfman Goodies. I think his name's Chad Wolfman Goodies. He says, awesome show. So
thank you.
Thanks to Dennis for that awesome show. And who was our guest? Stephanie Fuson. Maybe that's why it was awesome. She definitely brought the awesomeness up.
Yep.
Okay. Next up, let's go to 2 truths and a lie. Each one of us shares 3 things about ourselves. Only 2 of them are true, and 1 is the lie, and we have to guess which one is the lie. I think I'm up 4-3 so far.
I believe so.
See if you can tie it up this week, or if I take a commanding lead. You want to go first, Dennis?
Yeah, I've got this. This has been written for, I wrote this last week. No, like 2 weeks ago. And I kind of tweaked some of them, but here we go. I have touched the Mediterranean Sea. I hate tomatoes, and I use a Rollo label printer.
I have no idea what printer you use, but I'm going to say that's true.
The Mediterranean.
Okay.
I hate tomatoes, and I use the Rollo label printer.
Well, the Mediterranean is over. What, in Europe? Where is Greece? And you said you haven't traveled a lot. And I know you just traveled somewhere. Did you touch the Mediterranean Sea on that trip? I don't think you did. So I'm going to say, what was number 2? Or was that number 2?
I hate tomatoes.
Well, I can believe that. I can believe, since you haven't traveled a lot, but now you're going to get me, but I'm going to have to go with the Mediterranean Sea.
Yes.
Shoot.
That is a true statement. I have touched it. We were in my Spanish exchange back in high school, and we went to Spain. All the way up. We took a train all the way up to Barcelona, and right on that little corner, you could like reach out and be like, "Oh, there it is," and that was it.
So what was the lie?
I just went.
Yeah.
I don't use a Rollo. I use a Dymo 4XL.
Dymo. Okay. I use an Arc Scan, but
nice points.
Yeah.
I tied it up.
We're tied 4-4. Can I take the lead?
Here we go.
Number 1, I lived in Florida for 2 years. Number 2, I took a train trip from Ohio to St. Louis. And number 3, I took a road trip from Ohio to Central America.
Ooh. It's either 1 or 3. You drove what? To Central America.
Yep. I took a road trip from Ohio to Central America.
And the first one was?
I lived in Florida for 2 years.
Yeah. No, I don't think you have.
I did live in Florida for 2 years.
Oh!
My dad was a truck driver. And so he had a route that went to Florida, Winter Haven, Florida. And so we just decided to move to Florida to be at that end of the route. So yeah, when I was younger, like when I was in 2nd, 3rd grade, 4th grade in that area, friends would come down to visit. It was like vacation all year round.
Oh yeah.
I loved it.
Wow.
I
just couldn't see it as a Florida person.
Yeah. But I took a road trip. It was a 3-week road trip from Ohio down to Texas. Stayed with my aunt and uncle in Brownsville, Texas. Then went into Mexico, spent a week traveling through Mexico, went into Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and then ended up in Belize, and then flew home from Belize 3 weeks later. 5,500 miles. So, and I have never ridden in a train in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
I would not have guessed that.
You've
gone to that museum a bunch of times. You seem pretty knowledgeable, but you never. All right.
Actually, I did. In Strasbourg, it's a 4-mile railroad, but I never drove ridden Amtrak from one city to another or anything like that. But in other countries, I have.
We've done it all the way from Massachusetts to Florida, and I would not recommend it.
Yeah. How many days did that take?
It's a day and a half.
Whew.
So
do you sleep? You have a place to lay down? Okay.
Yep. But we thought we would do that to save money because flights at the time were super expensive, and this was really cheap. But you waste a day and a half down and a day and a half back. Now the prices they're not great. Yeah. So you might as well just fly.
Did you rent a car then when you got there?
Yeah.
I have a friend that put the car on the Amtrak. There's some train that you can put your car on. So he went to Florida and did that.
That's wild.
He figured out by the time you add in the cost of renting a car and everything, it's cheaper to do that, but probably not now.
All right. You're still up by 1.
5-4. Right. We'll move on to story time. Tell of an interesting story of reselling from a reselling event, past or present. Do you have something for us?
It's very quick. I'm going to pat myself on the back. I just passed 7,000 feedback on eBay. Wow. It was a number that I've been trying to get to desperately, and I made it. So now the next milestone for me is 10,000, which is never thought I would do anything like that. But I don't know.
Does anything happen when you reach one of those numbers?
10,000, your little star changes color.
Okay. But
I think mine's green right now, or I don't know. I mean, people love to see a whole bunch of feedback that makes buyers feel more confident, especially when they're buying more expensive items. But yeah, I'm on the road to 10,000 now, and we'll see what happens.
It's never really been my goal, but let me look at mine is real quick. Only 2,318, but I'm surprised you're that high.
Do you give feedback, to buyers? Like,
Yeah.
Is that something that you constantly do?
Yep.
But
you must sell. You probably sell a lot more than I do, but of lower dollar items than I do because a lot of your media.
Yes.
I could see media really making that number.
It definitely helps.
I have an interesting, funny story to tell. I'm going to say it was almost 2 years ago. I went to an estate sale in the Lancaster City, and the basement was full of stuff that you could just kind of pick through. And I found a Coleman sleeping bag, and it was really nice, like a good camping sleeping bag. And my son needed a sleeping bag, so I bought it for $1.
Oh wow!
And I brought it home. So I sat it in the dining room, and I didn't take the sleeping bag out to actually look at it. It just, when I peeked in the bag, I'm like, oh, this thing's nice. I felt it was thick. So I'm like, yeah, that's a good one. So I didn't take it out. And then later on, I went over to the sleeping bag to take it out of the bag. And what did I find? I'll share it later. It's a good one. Moving on to home runs and strikeouts. Your best and your worst sales of the week. Take it away, Dennis.
Well, I'm trying to find my other one here because I just remembered I'm kind of combining the last couple of weeks into this just because I want people I don't want to miss anything. And I know I had like two really like just dumb sales that I cannot believe. Actually, I probably should have shared this for story time, but let me see if I can find mine. Well, my first one, you'll love this. You love electronics and all that. There it is. My Walkman that I found. If you guys were watching any of my Instagram, I let you guys know that I found this at a yard sale. Lady was just cleaning out stuff in the garage, and this was in a box. It's the one to the right, $499.99. It's a Sony Walkman professional model, and the model number is WM for Walkman D6C. It is a bigger Walkman than your normal ones.
It looks pretty awesome.
This one is a little elongated. It also has the ability to record. So there's a mic input. You could actually put a mic in it, and you could actually record.
Wow.
Which many Walkmans are they're playback. Anyway, this was $5, and I looked through it. The manual was with it. You can see the headphones, which were amazing shape. And then they even had little replacement, the ear foam pieces, and then a power supply. So it had everything, as you can see in that picture there, except it was missing the battery holder and cover. I guess it was like a separate piece that went in there, but you could still, I tested it with the power supply. And this little, on some of these you can see like this little maroon case. It didn't have that either. But I did end up taking an offer for $480, and he paid the shipping and full insurance on it. And he got it last week, and positive review and all that. So while I'm here on the page, if you guys want to see some of what these are going for, mine was not working. The belt was bad and would need to be replaced. But you can see these up to $650, $550. Here's one here. I guess he's calling it new, but it went to auction for $1,200. Yeah, these are nuts. So yeah, absolutely amazing. Also in that case, but I have it separately, was the condenser mic for that unit, which I think it's worth like $60-$70. I didn't have it on there. I just I have it in a separate listing. I wasn't gonna include it, see if I could make a little bit more money on it. But an absolute home run for me. My other real quick one, which happened 2 weeks ago, right after we right after our last podcast
Mhm.
is, I'll pull that one up. This is something I found at a thrift store that they were just putting out. Some weird, I saw Italian and then I saw ostrich. Just bizarre ostrich boots or shoes. So I'm like, all right, I'll buy them. $250 and then gone. So I think I paid $19.99 for them.
Wow.
But yeah, I always look through the shoes. I guess why not?
Yeah.
And these were super weird. And yeah, the offer was $250 plus shipping. So I took it, sent it out again, positive feedback. So a couple of home runs in there. And I did get a strikeout where I sold this was weird because it was brand new. I've been selling a lot of classical music, like big box sets,
Okay.
and they're all sealed up. And I sold it, and I went out. The guy opened it and then complained that it smelled like mildew. A while back, I was telling you about. I was helping a buddy do a clean out.
Okay.
And it just came from there. I've sold hundreds from this clean out, and this is the first time someone's complained about it.
It smelled like mildew.
Yeah.
He didn't see mildew.
I asked him if there were any visible, defects or anything, or can you see mildew? And he's like, no, but it smelled like mildew. I want to return it. It's like, don't return it. I'm not gonna. I don't even want to pay shipping back and forth and all this stuff.
Right.
So one of those things, you just chalk it up as a loss, move on.
Yeah.
Again, I paid nothing for it, so I'm not gonna take more of a hit. So that was my strikeout. Nothing crazy, which is great because I don't like strikeouts, but they happen. So yeah, the goods outweighed the bads.
Yeah. Even the best batters in the world strike out from time to time.
That's right.
All right. Well, I'm going to say 3-4 weeks ago, I was yard sailing in the morning. I think it was a Friday morning. About 11 o'clock in the morning, I was done. And I'm like, I'm going to hit one more yard sale. And I walk up and they had a pile of speakers. There were 4 Polk audio speakers and a Sony subwoofer, and then a center channel I forget what brand the center channel was. I think it was Sony, but I'm not positive. I have it listed. I could look it up. But anyhow, I had no idea what they were worth, but they had $20 on it. And she's like, will you take all these speakers, please? I'll sell them to you for $10. And I'm like, okay. So that makes it $2.50 a pair. And in the last week, I've sold the four Polk audio monitor speakers. So let's show you what I got here. This was 2 of them. I sold for 120, I think 120 for the pair.
Wow.
And as you can see, they're pretty clean. They were very clean.
They look nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can buy amp them see the little clips there. You can take those out and then run an amplifier into like the subs and then an amplifier into the tweeter, I believe. So you can use crossovers before you get to them. So that's a big selling point. So that was one pair. The other pair I sold for $124.70. So that's $250 from a $5 investment of speakers.
That's awesome.
I just shipped these out today, actually. So those were I have several home runs because I've been selling a lot, but I thought I would focus on those speakers. Now, my strikeout was I bought a bunch of clothes. What's that?
I was saying, don't tell me it's the speakers.
No. This Cape May shirt. It's vintage tag. I sold it for $1. $1. I just wanted to sell something for $1 once. I was getting no offers on it, no looks on it, and some guy offered me $1, and I'm like, yeah, what the heck? That'll make a good story to tell on the podcast. But I could have just taken it down, and I made $1 on the shipping. So that's
okay.
But anyhow, it had to have a stain on the sleeve. But I was looking at Cape May shirts, like they typically sell in vintage. So
yeah. $1.
Yeah, $1. I just never had a $1 sale before, and I'm like, well, now I have. So it was kind of fun. That might be the lowest. That's by far the lowest sale. I don't even know if I've sold anything for $2 before. Next up is Bolos and no-nos. One thing to be looking for and one thing that you wouldn't buy again. What do you have?
I have an awesome one. Awesome. I love this Bolo because I found one of these, not one of the big ticket ones, but I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and it sold overnight like that. Super Soakers from the 90s.
Okay.
Oh, I love finding these. You can still find them. People kind of don't understand how much money is involved in some of these. This is the one I've been looking for a while. This is from 1992. It has a backpack right here.
Mm-hmm.
And the backpack holds the water, and it's wild. This one I've sold one time, the CPS 2000. That thing is amazing. You can see there's a couple of them in here, $150.
Wow.
Here's the classic right here. This is the one that I had. This is the one I found a couple of weeks ago. Just actually, that's an 08, so it's not very old. Mine look like that.
Are the dates on them? How do you know how old they are?
By looking, you can read the date on them, or you could look up the model number. This is the Super Soaker 30. So this is one of the original ones. And then they got like very spacey, like sort of scientific type. Here's another one. This is just like one of the first ones you would buy, this Super Soaker 50.
Okay.
But
yeah,
even the ones that are, used, beat up, faded, $80, $45, 55 for these parts.
Yeah, I was going to ask about parts because I have a tank. I have some tanks.
Yep. People would want to buy that because they get broken, they get sun faded. Yeah, I mean, there's it's just wild how many are in here. But vintage Super Soakers, definitely, go to a yard sale and ask if you have any squirt guns or outdoor toys, that type of stuff. $180 for this thing.
Jeez.
So yeah, it's wild. And of course, it's a great time right now to be selling those things because it's summertime. So
I have some in my death pile. I have those tanks.
Do you really?
Death pile. I don't even have them listed. So I need to
totally list those. Yeah.
As soon as I get home from the beach, got to get those done.
Yeah, I still have other summer stuff that I haven't listed yet. I don't know why. I should totally get them going. But my no-lo this is just something that I saw like 2 days ago at a thrift store, and they were trying to get rid of the stuff, and I was hesitant to buy or leave, or I didn't know what to do. And of course, there's, this is not a broad brush where I'm saying don't ever buy any of this stuff. But it is silver plated bowls, silver plated, electroplate stuff. You see this everywhere, right? Don't you find this almost every yard sale you go to?
Yep. It's also yesterday.
But I mean, look at the price, $5, $10. Oh, here, yeah. 19th century one. All right. So there's your exception to the rule. But most of these are going to be under $10, right?
Yeah.
And you think they would be worth some money, but they had the sale that everything was like 75% off at this little thrift store. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this stuff? I'm not going to research it, photograph it, list it, ship it out. The shipping's going to be more than what it's worth, until I found some guy that was picking this stuff up at the bins, and he was buying it not because it's silver plated, because the base metal. So his whole thing was the base metal is worth more than what you're paying per pound for scrap. So you scrap it. So every time he would find silver plate, he'd grab it. He goes, because the base metal is either going to be copper or brass. And then he goes, you look at how much brass is per pound, you look at how much copper is per pound scrap, and it's going to be worth more than what you're buying it for. I'm like, okay. But I know those numbers fluctuate, right? Those prices fluctuate. Yeah. So I'm staring at it all. I'm like, wow, I should probably buy all this and then scrap it and make money. And I'm like, no, it's too much work. So I left it all.
Yeah. I don't even know how to tell my metals. Like, so I can't tell if something sometimes is bronze or
Probably wouldn't be bronze. Definitely brass or copper. Just sand it. Just sand it if you're going to scrap it. And you'll see if it looks like a penny, great. If it looks like it's gold, then it's brass.
Yeah, okay.
I usually take a little piece of sandpaper and sand off the electroplate. It's so thin. I mean, there's really no silver in it at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you don't get any money for the silver. It's literally just for the base metal.
Okay.
So my no-lo is, I guess, don't go out and running around buying all this. But if you're a scrapper, you're probably going to say, I don't know what I'm talking about, because they're probably picking it up and scrapping it. So I'm not. I'm done. I just don't have the time for it.
You'd have to get it for free almost to make any money on it, though. Yeah,
I agree.
You couldn't buy this stuff at a store and scrap it. Yeah.
No.
All right. My Bolo is what to be on the lookout for when you're at an estate sale and you're up in an attic that's 120 degrees and there are boxes everywhere in this attic. I was going through magazines. I was like Sports Illustrated, looking for covers that I like. And then I saw a box that said Christmas, but there was a box underneath it. Okay. And then there was another box underneath that. So I took the Christmas box off and the top one said like Susie's Toys. Ooh. And it was full of dolls from the 1970s or earlier. I don't know anything about dolls. Then there was a box underneath it and it had a boy's name on it and said his toys. And I opened that box up and it was full of 70s Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, G.I. Joe, not only figures, but accessories.
My heart just stopped. So, yeah, it's be still.
I barely paid. I don't know if I should say how much I paid for this, but I'll get criticized. I did not pay much at all for this box.
Okay.
I had no idea I didn't know what it was worth. It could have all been junk. Everything could have been broken. I didn't know. I didn't look. And it was 120 degrees. I wanted out of the attic. I grabbed that box, went downstairs, made a deal. I've been listing some of the toys, and every single toy that I've listed so far that is sold is way more than what I paid for the box. So let's give you some examples. Welcome to the show. Talking cool. G.I. Joe.
Yeah, that's awesome.
$60, 1964. He was older than 70s. Boba Fett action figure.
Yep.
Just his rocket. I sold it for $55. This thing is like 3 inches long. I had no idea.
Awesome.
I could not believe it. It's worth more than the action figure.
Yeah.
A 1977 Micronauts.
Yeah.
Yeah. This sold for $25.
Cool.
This horse sold for $24.70, basically $25. And this was plastic. This other one was this is all metal, and it has magnets for joints, so you can pop off like the arms and the head and everything, and the hands shoot off like rockets.
So cool.
Sold this Paul Stanley Kiss figure for $55, and the guy was extremely happy to buy this. I got so many offers for this thing in the first 12 hours.
That wasn't Sell Trash Get Money's husband that bought this?
Maybe.
Could have been. Maybe. I don't know.
Right. Yes.
$55.
Yeah. Battlestar Galactica, 2 toys. Those sold for
awesome.
I think I took an offer in the low 40s on that one. And this gun,
this
is from Boba Fett. Sold it for $50 plus shipping. This thing it weighed like 1 ounce, tiny.
Yep.
So between that and the rocket, there's $100, and I still have some more accessories to go.
Amazing.
So I was freaking out. I thought that tub could be worth money, but I had no idea that these things were worth that much. I almost just put them together with the doll. I probably wouldn't even have got $80 if I sold them all together. But made over $100 on the 2 accessories, and I have a lot to go yet.
That's incredible.
Got to keep moving here. We're about out of time. My My no-lo is just it's little figures. I don't know what era these were from. These were Smurfs. I think I sold them for like $3. You probably have some. Is that Sleepy?
I think it's the same.
Oh,
I think it's Sleepy
well,
dressed in like a karate outfit.
okay. I got the surfboard.
And I think the brand, if you read it, is Schleich.
Yeah.
That German brand. And this is dated 80 something.
Okay. It's in my pictures, I'm sure. If I can zoom in. They're small. They were in my store for 2 years. It was back when I was selling everything that I came across.
Yeah.
Due to lack of items. So yeah, these little figures from the 80s. I don't know what they're made of, but they're hard. They have no movable parts or anything like that. Maybe if you have the entire set of Smurfs, or I'm sure there's they made a whole bunch of these different cartoon characters back then. So I don't pick them up when I see them.
This was in a free box. That's the only reason why I have it.
Yeah. All right. I want to conclude my story that I told you about earlier in the show about a sleeping bag. I bought a sleeping bag in a basement of a building, brought it home, didn't take it out of the bag. Later on, I went over to open up the bag to see what was inside there, and I noticed something crawling on the floor.
Oh no.
A snake. I had a snake in my house. There was it was better than maybe a cockroach. I went over, it was a little gardener snake, I guess. I went over and picked it up by the tail and walked it right outside, threw it outside before my wife could see it, because I think she would have left the house and took the kids with her for a week until I fumigated the house. So I'm like, wow. I hope that was the only one.
Yeah.
It wasn't a family. So yeah, somehow there was a snake in this Coleman bag. And needless to say, everything got washed at that point. And it's flawless. Like I don't know if he just crawled in the bag before I got there or what, but he hadn't been living in there, hadn't shed any skin or anything like that. So you never know sometimes what you're gonna find. Yeah. I don't like seeing a snake in my dining room.
That's awesome.
All right. Well,
wow.
We're out of time. We got late. We started late, and I had to leave the show for 10 minutes in the middle of the show because I had to run my wife the car keys. She was at the grocery store and lost the keys for a second. Well, it's a long story, but it's not her fault.
We should do like a Jeopardy music while I'm sitting there waiting and just speed it up.
Yeah.
I was just listening. Yeah. I was just sitting here listing some items. That's it. So no wasted time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, before we go, last week I said I was going to give away this tape gun. It's a metal tape gun to anyone that commented on our video. And we only had 4 comments, but I wrote down the 4 people, 1 through 4 in no order. I was going to have Dennis just pick a number between 1 and 4. He doesn't know what order they're in.
3.
3 is the Happy Picker. Happy Picker.
Cool.
Picker. Lori, I believe is her name. So I'll contact her through Instagram, get her message, get her address, and send that out to her if she wants it.
Congrats.
If not, we'll put it back on the blocks. But because a lot of resellers, have several tape guns and backups already, but it's hers if she wants it. All right.
Very cool.
So that brings us to the end of episode 21. Do you have any closing thoughts? 21.
Stay healthy, guys. If you're a full-time reseller, there are no sick days. Yeah. And it was miserable just trying to struggle through and do like the bare minimum. So take care of yourselves. Take some time off. Just drink water, get sleep, exercise, go for walks, that type of stuff. I do all that. I'm not preaching. I do all that. I have no idea how I got this cold, and it really made me appreciate being healthy and health. Again, thanks for watching. We really appreciate thumbs up, a comment, definitely some subs. We need a few more people subscribing, and we will keep on going with the podcast as long as you guys want to hear us. So thank you.
Yep. We'll see you next week, everyone. So bye. I think we're getting, how many subs do we have? 94.
There you go.